Crazy though. That's a crazy thing to do with your time.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's definitely like completely okay with dying. Like he's not afraid of dying at all. He doesn't.
I mean, I think everybody's afraid of it, but he's willing to take chances.
He just doesn't. I mean, it's like, I'm not saying he's like self-destructive. I'm just
Right.
people like
He's
that
not.
have gotten to the point where they're like, well, yeah. So like when every reporter asked Alex Honnold, "Aren't you afraid you're gonna die?" And there's like at this point there's this sad pause before he answers the question, but he's just like so level-headed about it, like
I know, but he's so level-headed about the craziest fucking thing a person can do. The one thing that freaks you out more than anything is the idea of you climbing a fucking mountain with no rope.
No rope.
And if you get stuck, there's no one that can help you. You're 1,000 feet up the face of a rock with a bag of chalk.
Yeah.
The fuck, dude? What the fuckity fuck? Look at that picture of him.
I know.
What the fuckity fuck, man?
Yeah. That's insane.
You have to be a very specific body type too, by the way.
Really?
That guy has yeah. You can't be a big guy. It's too much weight. That guy has very strong hands. When you shake his hands feel like his fingers are like double thick fingers. You know, like you have like double thick Oreo stuffing?
Yeah.
It's like his fingers. He has like double thick fingers. His fingers have like crazy muscles on them.
Have you ever heard the theory that there's a time and a place where you're going to die? It's destiny. There's no way to avoid it. It's just the way it is. Meaning that you can't die until that point arrives. So the risk takers, it's like they figured that out. They know that like they're not going to die yet. So they're able to do all that shit fearlessly. You ever heard that before? That there's like it's like written in the fabric of the universe.
Right, but that's easy to prove and disprove at the same time.
Sure.
If you just back engineer it. Like, of course, when you die, you were destined to die, stupid. That's how you were living your life. You're overthinking shit.
How dare you? No!
You're
How
overthinking
dare
shit.
you?
Everybody who gets to that conclusion is already dead. You're like, oh, it was destiny. Yeah, it was definitely destiny if you did those things. Here's the thing. Here's the Sam Harris question. Are you doing those things because of free will? Or are you doing those things because all the life experiences, everything that has happened to you
Right.
and you've seen and you are and you've given to the world, it brings you to this moment in time and it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
And shit is just going to go down.
Yep.
And your thoughts and your opinions on things are all like under the capture of all these other influences.
Yeah, no free will.
No free
You're like
will.
an equation.
Yes.
That's gotten into like a room where someone's fucking puking eggnog into your mouth, and there's nothing you could have done about
Right.
it. You're just a series of
Right.
like just the way data expresses itself in time is like
Right.
that. Yeah, man. I mean, I think what's useful about thinking in that way is it hopefully like helps you loosen up about your identity a little bit, and like
That's a problem with people.
yeah.
Identities are a weird thing. You just decide you're a thing. Well, I'm a fucking cowboy.
Yeah, right.
And then you're a cowboy.
Yep.
You decide, I'm a liberal from New York, and my perspective is always clear. I'm blue no matter who.
No matter what.
Duncan, the alternative is Nazis. And, you could be that guy.
Right.
Like, there's so many people you can be and so many combinations of people you can be. And it's so attractive because you could find little groups of people who agree with you.
Right.
And you all meet, and you're the young Republican Party. And you get together, and you talk shit about the Democrats.
Yeah.
And you talk about, when does life actually, when is conception? Is it at conception? Is that life? You have debates. You have conversations on how to frame
Sure.
it. How do we frame it to the libs? Get them to understand.
Yeah. Liberal tier time.
This fucking Roe versus Wade thing freaks me out.
Yeah.
Man. It freaks me out.
Why?
For so many reasons. First of all, because how many women need to get abortions because of the health of the child? Like
So many.
How many people need to get abortions because their child was raped?
My
How many times that I was reading a story about like a 10-year-old.
just happened. My friend had to get a little bit of placenta removed after a pregnancy, and the drugs they used to get it out, like the stuff she had to take, those could put her on a list, apparently. Like, it's this stuff like that. The problem is, like, all these like completely legitimate reasons for getting an abortion. Not just that, just like basic like stuff that has not, you don't even have a baby in you anymore. Just you know, some of these drugs are going to be harder to get in certain places apparently. And yeah, man, it's like, you know, it's wild to see how quickly rights, like human rights, can just go bye-bye like that in a second. It's just done.
Rights that we never thought we were going to lose.
Right.
Like, there's certain ways that we looked at the world. We're like, well, we've passed that. The government's control over us is not nearly what it was in the 80s or the 90s.
Yeah.
We've moved past that. And then all of a sudden, especially during the pandemic, it's almost like while you were sleeping, they were just like gaining ground.
Yeah.
Gaining ground.
Dude, it's a long-term plan.
It seems like even if it wasn't a long-term plan, even if there wasn't some grand scheme to try to enslave people back to the old way,
yeah,
they're doing exactly what you would do if that was true.
Sure.
So how are they even different by definition?
Well, that's what's so... Well, you know, man, in this book about... I'm sorry to go back to it. In the book about the American Revolution, they were talking about how careful in the early days of the Revolution you had to be. You had to be, like, completely underground to even, like, get the thing going. So